The year is 2022. WotC released their first Unearthed Arcana for what will become the revised version of D&D 5e. For some, it's too different. For others, it's not different enough. But me? I can't wait to see how monsters fit into the picture. I engage with every player's handbook playtest, but I wait patiently for the Monster Manual playtest. The Bastion's playtest comes out, and I get excited. The mechanic itself is fine, I like it, but it means playtests for things other than the PHB are on their way. Now, the year 2024 rolls around. The new DMG is in my lap, and no monster playtests ever happened. I can glean some ideas from the monster stat blocks in the PHB, and that have been released in adventures, but now I have the DMG in my lap. I check the contents page and flip to page 56. Will the advice have changed? The numbers? Will we get an example monster to show DMs how to best use these rules, or how to create/balance original traits? What secrets can I learn? And I get to the new monster creation rules, to find no such rules exist. Page 56, Creating a Creature, is just a set of rules for modifying pre-existing stat blocks. It talks about changing size, creature type, mental scores that aren't used for spellcasting, damage types, resistances, spells, and adding new traits from other monsters. But nothing about making them from scratch. Some have said to me that they hope the Monster Manual, which has yet to release at time of writing, will contain those rules, but I personally doubt it. This section isn't called the Modifying a Creature section or the Quick Start Creature Creation section. It is the Creating a Creature section, alongside the rules for creating magic items and spells from scratch. These are the rules we are getting, and they are frankly rubbish. Say you want to give your necromancer a magic staff. How do you adjust their CR to compensate? There were ways to work it out in 2014, but in 2024, you might as well stuff crayons up your nose. You'll get just as many answers from that as this section, let alone wanting to create mechanically unique creatures. While I think that the numbers used to calculate CR are basically unchanged due to backwards compatibility, and that the new challenge monsters bring comes from reshuffling where their CR comes from rather than the fundamental calculations, as a third-party D&D creator, I worry that the future creators won't know about the CR calculation rules in the 2014 DMG. So while I'm fine to keep using them for my content, I feel that unless Wizards of the Coast release said rules elsewhere, then this is an anti-community move. So, the rules are, frankly, not up to snuff, at least not on their own. But I still can't help but love them. Hear me out. Sure, if you like making every monster from scratch, these rules are useless to you. But if you do like using stat blocks written by others, then at most tables I think these rules might actually be good? Let me explain. I've recently been challenging myself as a DM to only use official stat blocks, mostly so I use the content I have spent unreasonable amounts of money on. And I think the vast majority of DMs also use official stat blocks with slight changes. And for that, these rules are perfect. Limitations they shackle you to breeds creativity, and also encourages you to find the cool traits already in the game and take them off a monster you may never use, to place them on one you will. That was actually half the reason I wanted to make my last video. I may never use a Barghest. They just feel too weird to slot into my games, but I love their fire banishment trait. Perhaps I could move that from the Barghest to, for example, a named Pit Fiend, and set up an encounter where killing the Pit Fiend will be nearly, but not quite, impossible for the party. But if they've done their homework, they will know they just need to surround it with high enough flames and it's over. It also poses an interesting question, I think. Can you use these rules to make a creature of a certain type feel more thematic, or feel like a unique individual of that kind? For example, can we take the leaked 2025 work-in-progress Ancient Green Dragon stat block and use these rules to make a named dragon feel unique? I think so. Say I wanted to make a green dragon themed around disease and poison specifically, rather than around being an avid manipulator. I want it to be so poisonous that even creatures usually unharmed by poisons are still harmed. Perhaps its breath is toxic to a being's very life essence. I've seen third-party creators create custom traits where monsters can ignore resistances and treat immunities as resistances, but honestly, I've always found those to be overly complicated. Using the rules for changing damage types in the DMG, I take some liberty and opt to change half the damage into necrotic damage, while keeping the other half as poison damage. The DM doesn't need to remember the dragon has a trait to ignore the dwarf's poison resistance, and the dwarf player doesn't feel bad at having their trait completely ignored, but poison resistance, and especially immunity, no longer makes the green dragon a joke. Now, I also want to represent its ability to spread disease just by being near it. I'm tempted to use the stench trait that many creatures have, but to be honest, having to remember to have people roll that save if they're nearby at the start of their turn is annoying to me. So I go looking for an alternative, which is when I stumble across a new trait I have never seen before. The Westrolith's Corrupt Water trait. This means any water within 30 feet of the Westrolith at the start of its turn becomes poisonous until a current clears it away or it evaporates. Drinking or swimming in this water forces you to make a DC 18 con save, or else take 4d6 poison damage, be poisoned for a minute, at the end of which you repeat the save, or else take 4d8 poison damage, and be poisoned until the end of a long rest. And demons drinking this water gain 2d10 temporary hit points. If you succeed on the first save, you're immune to that water for 24 hours. This trait is, frankly, perfect. I'm envisioning scenes of the dragon swimming through the water in its lair to poison all of the characters' water skins while they drink, or grappling party members into the water, knowing that even if they escape, they may well still be harmed by it. Or a scene where it enters a city dock and starts attacking ships, knowing people will jump overboard thinking it's safe, only to choke on the putrid sea. This one trait completely changes how the dragon will likely fight, turns the environment into a weapon the dragon can wield, and can do so in completely unfamiliar locations, so long as they have access to water. Finally, we're going to edit some of their spells to better suit their focus on sickness and ambush tactics over deception. We'll replace their Charm Monster with Greater Invisibility, their Dissonant Whispers with Inflict Wounds cast at 4th level, their Geas with Anti-Life Shell, and Modify Memory with Commune Nature as an action. With these changes, I think we have a unique Ancient Green Dragon with a cool trait I would never have otherwise used. But what if we went another path? Made a green dragon focused specifically on misdirection and deceit. Well then, what if instead of half its breath weapon being necrotic, we instead made it half psychic damage? And instead of the Westrolith's Corrupt Water trait, we gave it both the Mimicry trait from the Raven and the Ventriloquism trait from Titivolus, so it could throw its voice while sounding like somebody else. And the spells we change are Detect Magic for Silent Image, Cloud Kill for Seeming, and Polymorph for Phantasmal Killer. This allows the dragon to hide, lead the party to various traps, and make use of Seeming to do things like disguise its minions as the party, or Silent Image to fake a victim for the party to save while it hides in the treetops above them. Yet again, I think we have a unique Ancient Green Dragon. Not only unique from the default Ancient Green Dragon, but certainly unique from the one we just made. Hey, if you enjoyed the content of this video, stick around. We're a newly formed TTRPG design duo, and I'm hoping to make a few more videos talking about monster design for D&D 5e, both my own and the design of the new monster manual when it comes out. The next video will be talking about lair actions, why it seems they're going away, and how I feel about that.